Hi everyone. I think I'm out of practice doing this. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks at least. Anyway, so I thought I'd pop in and say hello to everyone, swap some gossip, some news, see what's going on in everyone's world. As usual, let me know when you get here. Say hello in comments so that I know you're here. Otherwise, I don't. I could be talking to a vacuum for all I know. So it's, let's see, it's June 3rd. I think it was about, it was back in April the last time that I did one of these. So it's been a bit of a while. The evening one, I hope, works better for a lot of people. I know that people like Australia and maybe even England tend to miss out because it's a bit late for them. But I think most of the people that drop in to say hello at these live sessions are actually in North America. So it's a good time for us. So I remember when I used to live in Australia, it used to be very annoying because everything that happened in North America that was interesting and cool happened while I was asleep. So that's why I was trying for a long while to try and do these in the middle of the afternoon. But it seems to work better for everyone in the evening here. So my apologies to anyone in Australia who's watching this in replay. So I just see Audrey. Hello, hi, welcome, thank you. So if you have any questions, drop them into comments. I've got quite a few from the mailbag that I'll be going through tonight too. So I'll have a quick look at that. Anyway, first things first, this day in history, because everyone seems to like those. So for this day in history, 1937, the Duke of Windsor married Wallis Simpson, which is a really famous romance, an actual romance in history. He actually abdicated the throne for her. I think everyone's pretty familiar with that story because there is the TV series on Netflix called The Crown that is basically a biopic, a biography of Queen Elizabeth and her very early reign. And of course, the Duke of Windsor, or as he was at the time, the King of England, was actually her uncle who abdicated. So it's been repeated in a few different movies and TV series here and there. I think one of the best ones I've seen is The King's Speech, which was actually a movie about the Duke of Windsor's brother who became king and was a stutterer and had to learn to overcome his stutter. So that was interesting. One of my favorite movies. It's a very good movie. Of course, it features Australians. So let's have a quick look. I've got, as I said, lots of questions that came in the mailbag over the last couple of weeks or so. So I thought I'd run through those and just answer them here because, well, of course, I answered the questions by email directly too, but some of these questions are really interesting ones. So I thought I would share them here and answer them here so that everyone gets the benefit. Anyway, the first one I got was from Alison, and Alison said, have you thought about writing Dane's story? And Dane is, if you're not familiar with the name, Dane is a duke that appeared as one of the major characters in Marriage of Lies, which is, I think, book 4 or 5, I can't quite remember, of the Scandalous Scion series. I can't tell you why he was not the main character because that kind of spoils it. But he has a very interesting history of his own. And the short answer is, yes, I have thought about doing Dane's story. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of room to do it within the series itself. So I'm thinking it may be an extra bonus story, just a novella or a novelette or something for the fans when they get there. Just because everyone would know his story, so I can do his story and have fun with it. But it's actually a story I'm itching to write. That'd be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. Also, in the bag was I had an email from Patricia, and she said, "I love your books and hope there are more stories on the horizon for Verus Brody and Taylor." I get a lot of emails along the same theme. Please tell me there's going to be more Kiss Across Time, or please tell me there's more about Brody and Verus. And the short answer is yes, there will be. I'm thinking that there's 1 or 2 stories left in the series, particularly as London and Remy and Nevin need to have their story told a little bit further. So there will be 1, maybe 2 books there. And then I think what I'll do is I will shut the series down and instead start up a spin-off series, so a related series that features the next generation. So we'll be looking at Aaron and Alan, Alana, and Merritt, and anyone else who happens to get involved with that generation, which could be, there's some interesting stories to tell there, but you may have noticed that it's probably just MF rather than MMF. I'm not quite sure how I would get the Minaj in there as well, but I'll have a think about it. I mean, I like challenges like that, so I will potentially, we'll see what happens with that one. I'll have to put on my thinking cap. But in regard to Verus and Brody, of course, they're my favorite characters of all time ever. I mean, I love all my heroes, but those 2 in particular are among my favorites. And as I explained to Patricia when I emailed her back and told her about what I was planning, it's entirely possible that Verus will end up in the spin-off series anyway, because it's Verus that we're talking about. He can't stay out of his own way. So I'm pretty sure that he'll rock up in some form or another somewhere in the series. So we'll see what happens with that one. But we've still got 2 books to go yet. And I've just got an extra comment here, so I'm just going to have a quick look. If you're lurking and you haven't said hello yet, do say hello in comments, because then I know that you're there, and I know who I'm talking to, which is nicer. And Audrey says, I'm having internet issues, so I may be in and out. That's fine, Audrey. If you can make it back, I'll just keep carrying on. You can catch up with the replay later. There's always that possibility too. Anyway, so let me see. Also in the mailbag, as I said, I've had a few of them. Reader called Lael, who's brand new to my books, basically, said, "You are new to me, so I'd like to ask about your books and what kind of content you write about. Do you write adult content with spicy romance and sexy descriptive love scenes, or do you write all age-appropriate sweet and clean romance with no sexual content?" Anyone who knows my writing is probably smiling at that one. The very short answer is no, I don't write age-appropriate content. All my books are adult books, and they may or may not have explicit content in them. They're all written for adults. I don't do young adult or anything like that. But I do across the spectrum of heat, from basically nothing explicit, like closed bedroom door, so to speak, through to full-on erotic romance. And but for the really spicy stuff, I do put warnings on the product description. So you can usually tell at a glance if the book is going to be to your preferred heat level or not. That's just wherever the product description is, I try to include that product warning if it's there. It's usually flagged as a reader advisory. So if you look for that, you should be able to find it. And Audrey again, so excited about the spin-off. Yes, I'm actually really looking forward to that one. That should be kind of interesting. The next generation are all grown up, so we'll have to see what mischief they get into. Oh yes, and I got this is not, it's sort of mailbag because I did get an email advising me about it, so it is kind of an email, but I'm just going to put a link in here to I don't usually do this, but this one's kind of cute. It's a link to a review of Hiking of Britain, that the book that just came out on Thursday, and it's on iTunes, but you can still access it with your computer if you click on the link and have a quick look. I'm just going to put the link in now. There we go. The really cute thing about this is the headline, which I had to laugh about because the headline on the review says, "Dear HBO, I found your new hit series," which made me laugh. And it also, at the same time, I'm thinking, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if HBO picked up Once and Future King and turned it into a series? That'd be just, And if you know the series at all, you tell me, who would you cast as Arthur, or Merlin, or Lancelot, or any of the characters that you like from the King Arthur mythology? Kay, who would you cast as Kay? I know who I'd cast as Kay. Anyway, you tell me who you think should be cast as Arthur. We'll see what the preferences are. More in the mailbag. Well, before I go on, does anyone have any questions at all? Just drop your questions into the comments. Everyone's being very quiet tonight. I'm used to a lot of people talking at me all at once and having to back up and go through comments again. So I got an email from Dina, who is a regular reader, and she said, and this is an interesting one. She said, "Did you enjoy Endgame? And when you get to the end of Game of Thrones, let me know what you think and if you would have done anything different." Now, before I go too far on, relax if you haven't seen either of those and you're trying to avoid spoilers. I won't put any spoilers in right now because unfortunately we picked up a couple of spoilers for Game of Thrones, so we knew what was going to happen in the last episode, which kind of didn't take the pleasure out of it, but did take a lot of the suspense out of it. So we were basically waiting for what we knew was going to happen. Okay, Endgame. Did I enjoy Endgame? I loved Endgame. It was absolutely fabulous. It was basically movie number 11 of a series of movies done by Marvel featuring all their superheroes. And it paid off big time. I just wish before I had gone that somebody had warned me that I'd need a box of tissues because, oh my God. Obviously I won't say anything more because I'm avoiding spoilers, but I thought it was an absolutely marvelous movie. It was so well written. The 3 hours just flew. It went really, really quickly, and I thought they paid off everything perfectly. They wrapped everything up really neatly, and they also managed to set up new storylines for heroes in future movies. So, I loved it. I thought it was great. I can understand fully the big fuss that's being made about it at the moment. I believe it's now the second highest grossing movie of all time, and it's just behind Avatar and creeping up on Avatar. So it may move past Avatar eventually as well, which would be it wouldn't surprise me if it did. So on the other hand, then we get to Game of Thrones. We finally caught up with the end of Game of Thrones, and there seems to be a lot of mixed feelings out there. And so I'm going to be pretty bland here and non-specific because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. because I know how much it ruined it for me. But basically, I think it was the final season was fantastic right up until the last episode. And the last episode was, you'd think after like 8 seasons of this huge build-up that they would pay off at the end a lot better than they did. I think it sort of felt like they'd got tired and were just trying to wrap the story up really quickly, and that they were also trying to be cool and unexpected. So the way they wrapped up the story was, it's not like anyone, well, I was going to say, it's not like anyone behaved out of character. Everyone sort of followed their character fine, but people ended up in unexpected places at the end, and it was like they were trying to, shock everyone and go against what everyone expected should happen, which I think to a certain degree ruins the story, because everyone misses out on that cathartic satisfaction at the end of the story, because it's a good ending. It meets expectations and fulfills all their it fulfills all the criteria for a good story, where the hero gets what they deserve and the bad guy gets what he deserves and all that sort of stuff. So I think Game of Thrones kind of missed it in that regard. And of course, I can't get into specifics because I don't want to spoil it for anyone else. And I see Kathy's there. Hi, Kathy. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Anyway, so that was my thoughts about Game of Thrones and Endgame. If you've got any different opinions, feel free to contribute. Put your opinion in comments. Try really hard not to put spoilers down, though. It's really, as I said, we got those spoilers for the last episode, and it killed the suspense a lot, because we knew what was going to happen. Tamara, howdy from Texas. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Just quick catch up. If you've got any comments or questions, I'm just going through the mailbag now, so ask away. And the very last one here, hang on, I'm just going to reach over. This one's from Dave, and I've been getting a lot of comments about Amazon's review policy lately. They're very inconsistent about how they apply their review policies. They have a lot of invisible rules that they don't tell you about. So a lot of readers get disappointed because their reviews get stripped away. And I have done, on my website, I've got a very long blog post about the review policy and how it affects readers and what you can do to minimize the chances of your review being taken away. So I've been getting quite a few responses in email for that one. And one of the ones I got was from Dave, who said, Amazon will not allow anyone to post a review of any kind if their purchases from Amazon have not exceeded $50 in the past year. Very disappointing and frustrating for some of us. Which actually, yes, I was aware of that policy. The thing is, though, of course, and this is what I told Dave, is Amazon's not the only game in town. If you don't buy your books from Amazon, and this is something that I tell my street team as well, if you don't buy your books from Amazon, don't worry about reviewing on Amazon. Review wherever you buy your books, particularly for my books, because I sell my books everywhere. I'm not in Kindle Unlimited, so I have readers whose only bookstore that they can buy books from is, say, Kobo or iTunes or Barnes & Noble or the big ones like that. There's also Goodreads, where you can drop a review as well. But putting a review on the book site has more influence over readers, because the readers are right there looking at a book to buy, whereas Goodreads, they're sort of like, most of the time they're browsing and just having a look at what everyone's talking about, because that's a social network, it's not a book site. So Goodreads will do, but if you really want to influence readers and urge them, if you've got like the best book you've ever read lately, if you want to urge them to read that book, the best place to put it is on the bookstore page where the book is. So all they have to do is slide up and hit buy. And that's where you can have the maximum influence over other readers if you want to impress them with how good a book is with your review. Got a couple of comments here, so let's have a look. Audrey, how about David Tennant as Merlin? There's an interesting one. Yeah, that's he's got that dark Celtic look thing going on, hasn't he? So he would do a pretty good Merlin, I think. He's got that very intense and edgy manner too. So just for those who came in very late, I was talking about the casting of, I had a review on Hiking of Britain, which just came out on Thursday. And the headline on the review was really cute. That's why I mentioned it. And there is a link in the comments that goes to that review too. But basically the headline was, "Dear HBO, I've found your new hit series." So I'm sitting here thinking, well, that'd be really great if HBO picked it up, but who would they cast? So Audrey's suggestion was David Tennant as Merlin. And my question is, okay, well, who would you like to see in the role of Arthur or Kay or any of the major characters in the series? There's Lancelot, there's all the usual ones. So you tell me who you think should be cast. It's an interesting exercise. I mean, I know who I would cast in the roles, but I'd be interested to see who you think, according to the way I've written the book, and what impression comes across. So who would you put in that role? You tell me. CJ. Hello, CJ. Hypothetical question for Pride Month. I was curious if you would, or maybe have, and I'm not remember, ever consider including a secondary, recurring background, maybe character who falls under the Pride umbrella. Would be great to see more in terms of trans, non-binary, aromantic, etc. represented. CJ, I've kind of like moved here, there, and everywhere. There's, I do have gay characters in the Scandalous Scions series. I can't specify who because that'll flag spoilers for other people that haven't read the series so far. I've also got, well, the whole Minaj MMF thing tends to touch on bisexuality, of course. I'm quite open to doing those sort of characters, but I have to be fairly careful about readers who find it offensive or they don't care to have those sort of characters in their books, because, well, romance is a really big area, and because I'm really in the mainstream subgenres for romance, I have to be careful. But I was actually just talking about, and I can't say because I just realized if I finish that sentence, I'm going to lay down a spoiler, so I can't finish that. But the short answer is, CJ, yes, here and there, I have done that. I can't point to anything because it it gives the game away. So maybe email me if you're really curious for a long list, and I can give you a list of the stuff that I've done. I haven't really got into the transgender per se. Really, I've just touched on bisexuality and homosexuality here and there, just because I am trying to tell a romance ultimately, so I have to be fairly careful about that. So hope that answers the question. Did I cover it? Let me know. And Lisa, hello Lisa. Lisa, I give a lot of ARC reviews and have had the problem with Amazon in the past, even though I have hit the $50 limit. I've revised reviews and resent them. I think it also depends on the person that looks over the review. It does make it hard though when doing an ARC review. Yeah, the limitations with Amazon and their invisible rules does make it a bit of a pain in the butt. The other thing, Lisa, I found out currently at the moment is that Amazon are taking days and days and days to actually approve the reviews. I'm not quite sure why they're lingering. It used to take just a few hours to get reviews approved, and these days it's taking anything up to 4 or 5 days. But as I was explaining earlier, Amazon, particularly with my street team, and I don't insist upon having reviews on Amazon. It's where you buy your books. And I do know that the other major booksellers are far more easygoing about reviews. They don't get stuck on if you're a friend or anything like that. That's Amazon seem to take more attention for that. But you can sort of understand it too, because Amazon's the biggest bookseller in the world and everyone's trying to scam them. So they tend to be a bit paranoid. And a lot of this is stuff that I cover as a background in the review process post that's on my site. So if you do a quick search on my site, you should be able to find it. Look for Amazon reviews and that'll come up. Lisa, perhaps you could tell us what you've done apart from resending your reviews and reposting them. Is there anything else that you do that helps get your reviews through? So I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are on the list that are watching right now that might appreciate a few tips. So anyway, I think, yes, I'm caught up with comments at the moment. Just to repeat, please say hello if you're here so that I know you're here. If you've got any questions at all, please drop them in comments. I've come to the end of my mailbag. So at the moment, we're just winging it. And of course, as I promised, I have a coupon for you. So just for turning up and saying hello, this will give you 20% off. Any of my books are on my site. You can only use the coupon on my site, of course. But just not for pre-orders because they're already discounted. So I will read it out. I'm not going to put the coupon in comments because anyone can pick it up as they swing by, and I'd just rather reward you guys who are actually sitting there and watching. So here's the coupon. I'll call it out to you. You ready? You've got to write this down. So I'll give you a chance to grab a pen and paper or get the notepad on your cell phone. You ready? Okay. Number 6. R for Robin, T for Tracy, G for Gloria, R for Robin, H for hair, G for Gloria, Z for Zoo, G for Gloria, and the number 5. So would anyone like me to repeat that? Let me know in comments and I can come back to that one if you want. The coupon is good until June 9th. That's June 9th inclusive. So it expires at the end of June 9th. That is Mountain Time. So if you're sitting on the other side of the world, you're 12 hours ahead. So don't miss out because of that. Get in this week so that you can get your 20% off. So, and also it is only good for one purchase. So, but it will apply to the entire basket. So the one purchase that you do, if you've got 6 books in there, you get 20% off them all. That is not a hint. I'm just letting you know. So anyway, let's see what else we've got there. Hello, Laurie. Laurie just popped in as well. Thank you. CJ, I was thinking in terms of broadening the spectrum. I've read many of the MMF series, and while it does fall under that umbrella, it still falls into traditional romance genre. I was thinking in terms of secondary non-romantic leads, characters. So, for example, a long-term acquaintance that may be asexual, for example. Actually, yeah, it's a relevant comment, CJ. I probably don't look for opportunities to do broad spectrum like that as much as I possibly could. I confess that, well, actually, I'm surprised that MMF is considered mainstream. I thought it was really when I first started writing, I thought it was very on the edge. These days, everyone's very much more blasé about that sort of thing. But I will have a think about that one. And just perhaps everyone could have a show of hands. Would you like to see more broad spectrum sexuality in secondary characters? Let me know what you think. Okay, so any more questions? Anything at all? This is the whole Ask Me Anything. So I believe there's authors that get asked questions about how they get inspiration for this, that, or the other, and so on and so forth. How they write. I constantly get questions about how long is my hair these days. So, and how is everyone finding, I was going to say, because it's summer now. I mean, the last time I was doing this was April, and we were still having like -20 and stuff like that. We're up into the like mid-20s right now, and I mean, we're talking about Edmonton, Alberta, so that's summer for us, which is hilarious because my mum, who's in Western Australia, mid-20s for her, 24 is the depths of winter. So when I phone her every week, she's complaining about how cold it is because it's 24, and I'm saying it's hot because it's 24 degrees. It's really, I'm quite happy to have the colder weather. I never really liked the super hot days that you get in Western Australia, but my mum loves them. I'm quite happy to have my mid-20s for summer and watch everyone faint and pass out when it hits 30 degrees up here. So let's see. Lisa, I do give a blurb about the book that I have read. I do tend to be a bit lengthy, so I'll shorten it. I hate to do that. Okay, so these are tips that Lisa's giving about getting her reviews approved on Amazon. She gives a blurb about the book. Do tend to be a bit lengthy, so shortening it apparently does help a little bit. Okay. The Amazon review process has been faster over the weekend. Why, I don't know. The only real problem is I do a majority through Booksprout, and they seem to like to have Amazon as the major review. Oh, okay, yes, all right. They accept Goodreads, BookBub, and the others, but don't really count them. It's basically a bit of a hit and miss thing with Amazon, I think, unfortunately. Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, that's with Booksprout. If they're insisting on an Amazon review and you don't shop there and don't buy your books there, I can see why Amazon would become a problem in that case. As I was saying, I don't actually insist that anyone leave their review on Amazon if they don't shop there. They can leave their reviews wherever they buy their books. So I've got reviews in some really strange places, and it does count with me. So Booksprout is, for anyone who's not aware, Booksprout is a book reviewing service. You can sign up to be a reviewer, and they will send out, actually, Lisa, perhaps if you review for them, you could correct me because I'm not super familiar with Booksprout, but I think you sign up for certain genres or you volunteer for each book that they send out, and then you get to read it and review it. So if you like reviewing, that is a possibility for you too. But I think the downside of that is that you would get a lot of authors that you're not familiar with. So that's a possibility. Dina, hello Dina, welcome. At last, I'm having trouble getting video up. You're not the only one, Dina. Apparently Audrey is also too. I'm not sure if Audrey is actually still with us or not, but. And do you have any questions, Dina? I've already answered one of your questions that I got by email about Endgame and Game of Thrones. So you may have to wait to watch the replay on that one. But I was very non-specific. I did not give spoilers. So, All right, now, does anyone need the coupon repeated? So we're kind of getting to the end here. Let's make sure everyone's got that covered. I don't want to put the coupon in comments because then anyone who's passing by gets to see the coupon, and I think only you guys should have the coupon. That's why I spelled it out. So you just get to have the coupon because you watched the video. I think that's fair, don't you? So yes, Dina, you asked about Game of Thrones in one of your emails, which I did answer tonight, only you weren't here. So you will have to wait for the replay. I'm sorry. So, CJ, me please. Do you mean for the coupon? And Dina's asking for a coupon repeat as well. Okay. Grab pen and paper, or however you record. I personally use my cell phone to write things down, but however you write things down, grab that now. I'll give you a second here just to run through the details. It's 20% off, not for pre-orders, for any other books on my site but pre-orders, only until June 9th inclusive. It will give you 20% off the entire cart. So if you go crazy and buy 15 books, and I actually have readers who go crazy and buy 15 books, I actually have some readers who buy the entire series just in one hit. It's amazing. Anyway, if you go crazy and put 15 books in, you get the 20% off the entire cart. It's not just one book, but it is only one shopping occasion. So once you hit checkout, the coupon will no longer work. So there's that. So here we go. The coupon is the number 6, R for Robin, T for Terry, G for Gloria, R for Robin, H for Hare, G for Gloria, Z for Zoo, G for Gloria, and the number 5. So you just type all of those in where it asks for the coupon code, and it will take 20% off the shopping cart when you go through to the checkout. And that is for my site, which I guess I should put down. HTTPS. There we go. I've just put my site in there. So if you go over to that one and then hit the book lists, that'll let you browse through all my books. And there is over 150 titles, so there's quite a bit there. Sandy. Hello, Sandy. Not sure if I missed it since I was late. Are we back to weekly chats at this time? Sandy, no, I'm not really sure that we'll be doing weekly right now. I'm sort of thinking maybe monthly. We'll see how that goes. Or maybe I'll just do it every time there is a release, not specifically to talk about the release, but that's just a date to hang the hat on for everyone, in fact. So, and of course the releases at the moment are one every 4 weeks, but after the 100th book comes out, they'll be dropping down to one every 3 weeks. So you will be getting your books faster. Dina, love 20%. Well, there you go, Dina. You've got it. It's all yours. So any more questions? Have I covered everyone's questions right now? So let me know. And I was going to tell you, I think I started talking about this. I didn't really finish it off. Saturday, because I'm cooking now. For the longest time, Mark used to do all the cooking, and I used to do all the dishes and stuff like that. He liked cooking. I don't like cooking. Anyway, he got really sick of cooking. So I've been doing cooking, and of course, in my usual fashion, I plan everything out. So I have a weekly menu. And Saturday, I got up to the kitchen after doing a really hard slog because I'm writing science fiction at the moment, and science fiction does not come to me as easily as the romance does. Anyway, I had a really tough day Saturday writing the science fiction. Got upstairs to do dinner and kind of went, yeah, I don't want to do dinner. I actually had a complete craving, just completely out of the blue, for lemon chicken. I don't know why. We have one particular Chinese restaurant that we love and adore, and they do the best lemon chicken. They also do the best ginger beef. They also do this dish called house no-name shrimp, which is undescribable. I've never had it anywhere else before, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So I sort of mentioned this to Mark, and he's like, oh, damn it. Yeah, let's go out and do Chinese. So we did, which is, simple enough. Yeah, everyone goes out for dinner. Problem was, we drank about 3 pots of green tea between the two of us. And I forgot green tea has got caffeine in it. So Saturday night, we're sort of like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., we're lying there staring up at the ceiling, not being able to sleep at all. So it's taken me about 3 days to get back to a normal sleep cycle. And we're finally there. So my lesson for this week is, what's your caffeine intake if you happen to go and eat Chinese? And tell me what your favorite Chinese dish is. I know what mine is. So you tell me what yours is. And maybe they have strange ones down in the States. I don't know. So we've got a couple of comments here. Let me have a quick look. Lisa, I got onto Booksprout through an author, and some of the authors I have gotten on through BookFunnel. Once you leave a review for an author, they will continue to send you books from them. They will give a release date. Then again, Amazon with taking days, it can really mess things up. Booksprout gets their panties in a bunch if you don't leave a review for the author, and will stop sending books from them. It really helps to get newsletters from authors. You can join their review team and it will get you started. Okay, that's interesting. I'll have to look into it. How many other people use Booksprout? I mean, I have heard of it before, but I run a street team directly, so I've never really considered using a service before. Let me know in comments if that's something that you use and if you like it. I can have a look at it. And Dina's saying, yay, science fiction or sci-fi. Sci-fi actually is the TV and the movie version of science fiction. Science fiction authors in particular were very snotty for the longest time. It was either science fiction or SF. Sci-fi was for those TV shows. I think they've got a lot more relaxed about it these days because everyone says sci-fi. But that was considered very down market originally for the authors. So, but yes, I'm writing science fiction. I'm finishing off the Indigo Reports series. So, but as I was saying, it comes a lot slower than the romance does. The last romance book I wrote, I finished in 6 days. This one's taking considerably longer, which is probably just as well. I only did the last one in 6 days because I need the time at the moment. All right, it's 1:45. If anyone has any last minute questions or anything like that, let me know. Dina is saying, I have an author that uses Booksprout. If you don't leave a review, they won't let you get the next author's book till you do. Oh, I kind of like that. The only thing I'm not really happy with is if they're insisting upon Amazon reviews. That doesn't seem fair to me because I have got readers who read and buy their books from everywhere. So I'm not sure, would they get penalized if they're using Booksprout? That seems a bit unfair to me. Perhaps somebody can mention something in comments. Or if you're feeling a bit bashful, of course, you can always email me with your thoughts. I'm Tracy at tracycooper-posey.com. If you have a strong opinion about Booksprout, for or against, maybe let me know. Any last minute votes on who should be cast as Arthur in the HBO series of Once and Future King? Sorry, Once and Future Hearts. So, Dina, is it a new sci-fi book? Are you continuing a series? I'm finishing the Indigo Report series, Dina, sorry. But I will be continuing on with more science fiction, straight science fiction this is, not straight science fiction as opposed to science fiction romance. I will also be doing science fiction romance later on as well. But at the moment, I mean, I'm already doing like 6 different subgenres and trying to keep everyone happy at the moment. So it's taking me a while to rework everything to get into the genres that I've been ignoring for a bit, including science fiction. I sort of had to get back into science fiction in a hurry because Kevin J. Anderson asked me to put one of my books in one of his story bundles, that happened last month. That was really exciting. And of course now it's like, oh, well, I better finish the series. So that's how I got back into science fiction so quickly. I had to shuffle things around a little bit. But science fiction romance is on the list. I will be getting back into the Endurance series. I'm also looking at a spin-off to the Interspace Origins series. So all the fans should be happy. Any other questions before we wrap up for the night? Let me know. I'll pause and wait for a bit because there's a 30-second delay. CJ, a soft spot for Chris Helmsworth as Arthur, but I haven't got to that series yet, so not sure if that fits. If Chris I think Hemsworth, yes. If he was redhead, he'd fit. Arthur is redhead and blue-eyed in my series, so just as his father was. I suppose we could dye his hair. He's got the right build, that's for sure. So, Lisa, how in the world do you keep everything straight? I'm not too sure what you mean, Lisa. You might want to expand on that one, and then I can take a stab at answering it. Dina, I don't see Chris as Arthur. Well, he's got that whole Thor thing going on, so it's sort of fit in, yes. Yeah, he could be a ginger, CJ. Yeah, yeah. Except the Arthur in the story is really a redhead with blue eyes, and he's got the blue eye thing. I admit that. I was actually thinking of yeah, no, I I don't want to bias you or influence you, but there is a picture out there of Sam Heughan from Outlander as a redhead with a full beard and the blue eyes, of course. That is Arthur. You might have to search for it, but it's not that the carroty hair that he has in Outlander with the curls and stuff like that. He's like full-on redhead in that one. He looks really good. So maybe have a quick search for Sam Heughan under Google Images, and you'll see, when you see the one that I'm talking about, you'll know, because it's like you look at that and think, yes, that is Arthur. It's also his father, Uther. So because they're peas in a pod, basically. But Susan, hello, Susan. I didn't know you were here. Oh, yes, perfect. I presume you mean, are you talking about Chris Hemsworth or Sam Heughan? I'm not sure. So, Lisa, with all the different styles of books that you're writing, I'm afraid I would be totally lost as to what I would or should be writing. I see. Okay. I'm not sure how I do it, Lisa. I guess I have a multi-track mind or something like that. I do know that I would be bored brainless if I had to stay with one subgenre all the time. If I just got to write historical all the time, I would just be, oh, that would drive me crazy to be, just shoot me. But quite often I have to give up a genre if it doesn't sell well, which is what I had to do with science fiction romance for a while there. But now I've been getting enough emails because people are discovering the series, because the books don't go out of print or anything like that these days. So people are discovering the series and coming back and saying, well, when are you going to write the end? They're also doing that with the straight science fiction as well, which is why I sort of put them back into the cycle. And the same with the Kiss Across Time series, which the sales on that one were drying off too, and I got the impression that everyone was getting very sick of it, so I stopped writing it. And suddenly I'm getting a lot of emails saying, what happened? So I put that back on the schedule as well. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I keep them straight. I do know, and I do have very expanded notebooks. I use OneNote actually because I'm purely electronic. I don't keep paper notes at all. But OneNote is stuffed full with notes for the various series, and I have a lot of research notes, and it's all very carefully catalogued and indexed. So I can keep track of, and I have what they call a story Bible, which you may have heard in terms of television, but it's also something that authors do too. A story Bible or a universe Bible, or and that when I get back to a series, that will help me get straight back into the series so that I can write it and keep everything straight. But usually I've got such a really strong image of what the characters are like and the situations, it's very easy to swap over because I recall where everyone left off in the last book and away I go. So I'm not sure if that helps. Just something that I do, I guess, which is like not a very satisfactory answer. But Dina, yes. You may have to expand on that one, Dina. CJ, have you watched American Gods? Pablo Schreiber. I will have to have a look. I actually watched about 30 seconds of American Gods, the first episode, and there was so much blood and guts, I kind of went, yeah, no, I don't think so. So I've never really got past that point. But I will check out Pablo Schreiber for sure. Susan, Sam. Yes, Sam Hewen. CJ, I'll stop and read the series first, then I'll cast. Yeah, it's because I don't leave characters really up to the reader's imagination too much. I tend to get fairly specific about what they look like. Dina, never get tired of Kiss. No, neither do I. I would keep writing about Brody and Varys forever, especially as they're immortal, basically. So I could if I wanted to, but I have to be fairly careful about, taxing readers' patience. So that's why I tend to keep an eye on sales, because that's a really good barometer of if people are getting sick of a series or not. So. Susan, are you saying the characters speak to you? No, they don't. No, they really don't. They speak and behave and walk around their world, but they don't talk to me specifically, not directly. But usually because I plot in advance, I usually have a scene in mind that I can write up to that's like particularly emotional, or just a scene that I know is going to blow the socks off you guys when you read it. So I usually, when I send a book out to the beta team or the street team, I'm just waiting for someone to come back and say, oh my God, that scene. And nobody ever does. It's never the scene that I think that they're going to get excited about. But there's usually one or two scenes that I want to write up to, because I can see them moving around in that scene, but they don't talk to me directly. So, but I have very strong visuals of a story and the characters. So when I get back to a series, the characters, it's not like I have to go back and find out if they have blue eyes or something like that, because I just know. So Dina, Sam, yes? Sam, yes? So, okay, that took even longer than I thought. Any last comments, any last questions? We're coming up on the hour, so we should probably cut it short so I'm not testing everyone's patience again. Nobody's put any comments in there for the last few seconds, so I'm going to presume that everyone's got all their questions in. If I have failed to answer your question, or I've missed details, or there is something else that is driving you crazy, email me, ask me directly. I'll be happy to answer. Putting them in comments here afterwards is sometimes problematic. It may not show up. So, Dina, the link to my buy page. Dina, what do you mean by buy page? Are you talking about a list of books that people can buy, or a specific book? Because there's a whole different thing there. I did put my site in there. I can't swap over. If I move away from here, then I lose the connection. So I can't pick up the actual buy page itself. But sorry, the browsing the book lists. But if you go to my site, which I'll put down here again very quickly. Okay, there's the site. If you navigate to the site and then look for the menu item at the top that says book lists or books, and click on that, you'll get a range of book lists. There's one for alphabetical, there's one for series, there is one for categories, and there is one that has all the books listed by their covers in thumbnail. So there's various ways that you can browse through all the books there. And the other thing I just thought of too, I should mention too, there are titles and books available on my site that you cannot get anywhere else, just FYI. So I have the complete collection of everything I have ever published available on my site, whereas some of the booksellers don't have them all. So another good reason to buy direct from me. So, okay. Again, any questions, any concerns, you can always email me. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. I appreciate and love you all. I always have fun with these chats. It's good to catch up with everyone again. I think we'll look to doing another one the next time I have a book launch, which will be Ashes of Pride at the end of the month. I think the 25th actually is the release date. That's the Thursday. So we'll do maybe the next Facebook Live on the Monday after that. Until then, have a great week. Enjoy your shopping with your 20% off coupon. And I will see you via email. And otherwise, I'll be here writing my little fingers off. Bye.